Hello, it's Davy Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas where I run the jazz guitar program. I'm a Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist, got my new CD Live at National Sawdust, and I got my improv book from Mel Bay, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary, and a shout out to Jazz Guitar Today for collaborating with me on this video series. So I want to talk today a little bit about the John Coltrane tune Countdown, which is one of several tunes from the late 50s, early 60s, where he started beginning with Giant Steps and moving on to 26-2, Satellite. This tune, Countdown, was actually on the same record. It was on the Giant Steps record. And they explore similar types of harmony, similar types of harmonic movement. Though, dare I say, Countdown is perhaps the the most difficult of the bunch. Largely because it's so fast, and he really set the bar. Train set the bar so high for the tempo of this tune. On the Giant Steps record, it's pretty much just him and Art Taylor. There's drums and saxophone for a while, but Train is so accurate at playing every single chord in the song. And the band comes in at the very end. You can see they're like, all right, we don't want to mess too much with this, but just maybe talk about the chords for a second. It's loosely based on Tune Up, Miles Davis's song Tune Up, and the form is definitely based on that. So you have the same harmonic sequence in three different keys, and the sequence is this. You have E minor, F7, B flat major, B flat 7, G flat major, A7, D major. And the same thing down a whole step. D minor, E flat 7, A flat major, B7, E major, G7, C. Each of those gets 2 beats, and then one more time, so down another whole step you have C minor, D flat 7, G flat major, A7, D major, F7, dominant 7, B flat major. Then the last 4 bars you get a little bit of a break. You get E minor for a whole measure, F7 for a whole measure, B flat major for a whole measure, and then either A7 or E flat 7. And then back to the cycle, and it's like 300 beats or more per minute on that original version. Although I actually have kind of a history with this tune. I recorded this on an album called Astoriano that I did in 2007 for a Japanese label called Late Set Records. And we recorded this song, several of my originals, and we did a trio version of this with Matt Closey on bass and my buddy Simon Lott on drums. Shout out to Simon Lott, wherever you are. Actually, I know where you are. You're in New Orleans, but I kind of took as a model, Pat Metheny had done, and I guess that trio record was at 99, 2000, a trio record with Larry Grenadier and Bill Stewart. He'd done a version of Giant Steps that was kind of straight eighths, even bossa nova, at a slower tempo. And so I thought, man, I want to do Countdown, and I'm going to take that approach, do it as kind of like a medium up samba, maybe somewhere closer to where I might play something like 26-2. I think on the record, and the demonstration I'm going to do at the end of this video, I think I'm around like 216 beats per minute, and the general vibe was like. I don't remember how I did it. You get the idea. And I could kind of handle the tune, as much as anyone can handle this tune at that slower tempo. Have a little more time to think, try to play a little more musically on this tune. Not that it's, I consider it unmusical, the breakneck tempo that Train does it at, because he's so accurate with the harmony. I mean, he makes a heck of a lot of music out of those those chord changes. And I guess in terms of strategies for improvising on this type of thing, I mean, similarly to my thoughts on 26-2, I did a video on that, and I did a video on Giant Steps actually back in, I guess a year and a half ago from a different angle before I got this set up with my camera. The main thing I think about is this concept. I call it in my book, I call it negative guide tones. That really just means common tones. I wanted to have kind of a snazzy name for it. But so for instance, if you're starting out, that first 4 bars, really, if sometimes what I'll do is try to find some notes that don't change from one chord to the next. So if you go from E minor to F7 to B flat, the note A, and I wouldn't just play the note A, but I could kind of use that as a pitch to sort of base what I'm playing off of and sort of toggle between that, because then when the D flat 7 chord comes, if I go, I can just go up to B flat for the next two chords, for the D flat 7 and the G flat, and then back to A major, back to an A note for the A7 into D major. That's what I was doing right there, but I'm definitely looking for that. I'm looking for the notes that don't move, since the harmony jumps around so much, and major thirds, key centers, and things like that. I try to keep it closer to home base, and you can do that. I wrote out for in my improv class. We start the semester off with a train changes tune, and we alternate between I kind of think for me the big four are 26-2, Satellite, Giant Steps, and Countdown. And sometimes we'll do Moment's Notice, which is a different kind of song, but I wrote out some lines for them, the idea that you could go like, right, that's that toggle between A natural and B flat. And that's just one strategy that I use. Another thing I always look for, I love the little melody that Train plays at the beginning of his 26-2 solo, where he goes like, he plays a little whole tone melody as the changes go by in the Coltrane cycle. So on this tune too, I'll kind of go for that. I like the idea. Look for like melodies I can play that go against the bass motion of the harmony. And I guess one more idea I would throw, that's all stuff I talked about with the 26-2 video. One idea I'll throw out there too that I've been experimenting with lately on this type of harmony. There's a video on YouTube of Barry Harris talking about giant steps. And in his irascible way, he's kind of talking about criticizing horn players, I think, who take things a little too literally. But he introduced this concept about playing on giant steps that kind of blew my mind. He says that, when he thinks about playing on that song, like, and again, this is giant steps, but it applies to this tune too, where you have B major, D7, G major, B flat 7, E flat. He says that for him, he can only play one beat of B before he has to go right to D7. So he kind of plays like a beat of B, 3 beats of D7 going into G, and then 1 beat of G before he gets to the B flat 7 a little early in his line, against the harmony of the song. And it was just, first my mind was kind of blown, because it sounds really cool, and you can hunt down that video. But I started trying to apply that to certain types of tunes, and I find it does work well with these train changes, because a lot of the time what happens on this song, for me anyways, I'll end up getting behind a little bit, on the chords, and then I have to catch up. And I think particularly anticipating the dominance like that, whether it's by actual literal 1 beat on one chord and then 3 beats on the next, can kind of it actually sounds right for some reason. It doesn't sound like you're not on the right chord, so you could kind of like, hopefully I can demonstrate this. So I was trying to get to the dominance a little early. Let me do it one more time. Let's see. And somehow it works. I tried doing it on some other tunes where the chords move by quickly and there's only 2 beats on each chord, but it didn't work as well. Like, I remember trying this on Conception, and it just sounded like I was in the wrong spot. But I think something about the harmony moving so far away, the key centers. Whereas conception, the chords move really quickly, but you're often in one key area, like D flat, B flat minor. I mean, there's some changing, but these songs are just so relentless in how they modulate. So that's something I've been experimenting with a little bit. And also, you know, the last thing I guess would be I just identify, piggybacking off of the videos I've been doing talking about position playing. You know, I try really hard to be able to play the whole song in one area of the guitar and identify little arpeggio shapes that can help me do that. You know, scales, I mean, on this song, gosh, arpeggios, yes, although, you know, you don't even have enough time to really play a full arpeggio. You got, assuming you're going to be playing a lot of eighth notes, you know, what do you got, 4 eighth notes? It's tricky, but I like to have these little chord shapes. In each little area of the neck, and just like playing a simpler song and confining yourself to one area, the shapes are going to repeat. So the shapes I use for those, gosh, how many chords is it? It's a lot of chords, right? Playing this whole song. But if I move down here and play the same thing, there's only so many ways you can play minor sevens, dominant sevens, and major sevens, and I have the shapes that are my go-to shapes. So they will repeat just in a different order when I move to a different part of the neck. And yeah, it's important for me to not get caught in an area where I'm comfortable playing on one chord, and then the next chord just messes me up, and I can't play on it. And I have on a song like this, you know, that's like a death sentence. So anyway, I'm going to play a few choruses on it at roughly the tempo and the vibe that I did back on Astoriano, low these 13 years ago. So okay, hope you enjoy it.